Have you ever noticed something strange? You can understand English. You can read English. You can even think. Yes, I know this word. But when it's time to speak, everything suddenly disappears. Your mind goes blank. Your heart starts beating faster. And the sentence you wanted to say becomes too heavy to carry. So, here's the real question. Why do so many people study English for years and still struggle to speak fluently? Not because they are lazy, not because they are not smart, and not because English is impossible. The truth is much deeper than that. Most people are trying to solve a speaking problem with a study-only method. Fluency usually improves when learners speak regularly, use active practice, and focus on output instead of only input. And in this video, I want to show you exactly why that happens, what is blocking you, and how to finally move forward in a way that feels natural, practical, and real. So if you've ever felt stuck, embarrassed, shy, frustrated, or tired of learning without speaking, stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you will understand the hidden reasons behind your struggle, and more importantly, you will know how to fix them. Let's begin with the first truth. You are probably not failing because you don't know English. You are failing because you don't use it enough. That may sound simple, but it changes everything. A lot of learners spend years reading grammar rules, watching videos, memorizing vocabulary, and listening to English content. Passive skills like reading and listening can grow strongly, while speaking remains weak if learners do not practice active production. And this creates a dangerous illusion. You start to feel like you know English. But knowing English is not the same as speaking English. That's the first trap. Let me give you an example. Imagine a young man who watches football every day. He knows the names of all the teams. He knows the rules. He knows the players. He can talk about the game in theory. But if you put him on the field, he cannot play. Because watching the game is not the same as playing the game. English works the same way. You can watch. You can study. You can memorize. But until you start producing your own sentences in real time, your speaking muscle stays weak. Have you ever felt that gap? The gap between understanding and speaking? If yes, then you are not alone. Many learners get trapped in what I call the comfort zone of input. Input feels safe. You can pause a video. You can reread a sentence. You can check a dictionary. You can pretend that progress is happening because you are busy. But speaking is different. Speaking is messy. Speaking is fast. Speaking forces your brain to think, choose, and respond under pressure. And that is exactly why many people avoid it without realizing they are avoiding the very thing that would help them improve. Now, let's go a layer deeper. There is another reason you still can't speak fluently. You are probably trying to sound perfect before you allow yourself to speak at all. And perfectionism is one of the biggest enemies of fluency. Think about this. When a child learns to walk, do they wait until they can walk perfectly before taking a step? Of course not. They wobble. They fall. They try again. They look awkward. But nobody calls that failure. That is learning. Yet when adults learn English, they often demand perfection from themselves before they are willing to open their mouth. They want the exact word, the exact tense, the exact pronunciation, the exact sentence. So they wait. And waiting kills fluency. Because fluency does not begin with perfection. It begins with willingness. Willingness to make mistakes. Willingness to sound simple. Willingness to speak before you feel ready. That is the uncomfortable truth. And once you accept it, your progress can change very fast. Let me tell you a small story. I once knew a learner who was extremely quiet in every English class. He understood almost everything. He could answer in writing. But when asked to speak, he would smile, look down, and say very little. One day, he finally admitted something honest. He said, "I don't want people to think my English is bad." And there it was. Not a grammar problem, not a vocabulary problem, a fear problem. Maybe you know that feeling too. Maybe you've thought, what if I make mistakes? What if people laugh? What if they correct me? What if I sound foolish? Those questions can build a wall in your mind. But here is the surprising part. Most people are not paying as much attention to your mistakes as you think. They are mostly trying to understand your message. And when you shift your focus from "how do I sound" to "did I communicate my idea?", you begin to speak more freely. That is a massive mindset shift. Because fluency is not just about language. It is also about emotional safety. If your brain thinks speaking is dangerous, it will keep protecting you with silence. So how do you fix that? You start small. Very small. Don't begin with a 10-minute speech. Don't begin with a full debate. Don't begin with a perfect presentation. Begin with 1 sentence. Then 2. Then 5. Speak to yourself. Describe your room. Talk about your breakfast. Explain what you're planning to do today. Simple topics reduce pressure and allow your brain to focus on producing words instead of surviving fear. This is how confidence grows. Not by waiting, by doing. Now, let's talk about another silent problem. Many learners think they need more vocabulary before they can speak. But the problem is often not vocabulary itself. The problem is retrieval. You may know the word, but you cannot find it quickly enough during conversation. That delay creates hesitation. And hesitation feels like weakness, even when your knowledge is actually strong. Here's an example. Imagine someone asks you, "What did you do yesterday?" You know how to answer. You know the words, but suddenly your brain starts searching. Past tense? Correct verb? Right order? How do I say it? And while your mind is searching, the moment passes. That is why fluent speakers do not always use complicated vocabulary. They use familiar language quickly. They speak with chunks, patterns, and ready-made phrases, not with isolated words floating in the air. That means one of the smartest things you can do is stop collecting words like trophies and start training phrases like tools. For example, instead of learning only the word decision, learn, "I made a decision. It depends on. Let me think about it. From my point of view, that makes sense." These are useful because they appear again and again in real conversation. Now, ask yourself this. How many words do you know but never actually use? If the answer is many, then you already know part of the problem. Knowledge becomes power only when it becomes usable in speech. And that brings us to a very important idea. Your speaking practice needs to sound like speaking, not like silent study. A lot of learners spend time writing answers in notebooks. That is not bad, but it is not enough. Some learners read dialogues. That is not bad either, but it is not enough. Real speaking requires real output. Your mouth, your ears, your memory, and your brain all need to work together at the same time. That is why one of the best habits you can build is speaking aloud every day, even if it is only for 5 minutes. The goal is not to impress anybody. The goal is to train your brain to move faster. And there is a beautiful thing that happens when you do this consistently. At first, you feel awkward. Then you feel uncertain. Then you feel slightly more comfortable. Then one day, you notice that the silence is getting smaller. That is growth. Not dramatic. Not instant. But real. Now, let's go even deeper. A lot of people say, "I need a partner to practice with." And yes, conversation partners are helpful, but waiting for the perfect partner can become another excuse to delay practice. You do not need to wait for ideal conditions before you begin improving. You can practice alone in powerful ways. You can record your voice. You can shadow short clips. You can read aloud. You can answer questions out loud. You can narrate your day. You can summarize a video. You can imagine a conversation and speak both sides. These are not childish exercises. These are serious fluency tools. In fact, recording yourself can be one of the fastest ways to discover what is actually blocking your progress. Self-recording and listening back are effective ways to notice pronunciation, hesitation, and grammar issues that are easy to miss in live speech. Because when you hear yourself clearly, you stop guessing. You hear where you pause too much. You hear where your pronunciation is unclear. You hear where your ideas break down. And once you hear the pattern, you can improve it. Now, let's talk about something that quietly destroys many learners. They study too much in private and speak too little in public. There is a big difference between private confidence and public confidence. Private confidence feels good. You understand your notes. You understand the lesson. You feel smart. But public confidence is what matters in real life. Can you answer quickly? Can you respond when someone interrupts you? Can you continue when you make a mistake? Can you keep going even when you feel nervous? That is the real test. And the only way to build that skill is through repeated exposure. Start small. Speak with a friend. Join a practice group. Ask and answer one question in English every day. Introduce yourself in English even if the situation feels simple. If you want fluency, you must create moments where English becomes a live experience, not just a classroom subject. Regular conversation practice and active use are central to improvement. Let me tell you something important. Fluency is not a reward for finishing a textbook. Fluency is what happens when speaking becomes normal. And normal comes from repetition, not perfection. Repetition. Let's say you want to improve pronunciation. A lot of people think pronunciation means copying a foreign accent. That is not the goal. The real goal is clarity. Can people understand you easily? If yes, then you are succeeding. This is why shadowing is so powerful. When you hear a short English sentence and repeat it immediately, you are training your ears, mouth, and rhythm together. Shadowing is one of the most widely recommended methods for improving pronunciation and natural speech rhythm. It teaches you how English sounds flow, not only the words, the music of the words. Try this. Choose one short sentence. Listen carefully. Repeat it exactly. Then say it again in your own voice. Then use that pattern in a new sentence. This is how English becomes more natural inside you. Not by memorizing rules alone, by hearing and producing patterns repeatedly. Now here is a question worth asking yourself. When was the last time you actually spoke English for more than 1 minute without stopping? If the answer is hard to remember, that tells you something. It means your practice may be too passive. And passive practice can make you feel busy without making you fluent. That is why short daily speaking sessions matter so much. A few minutes a day can be far more effective than one long session once in a while. Consistent daily speaking practice is repeatedly recommended over occasional long study blocks. Now think about your own routine. Do you have a real speaking routine? Or do you just study English when you have energy? Because energy is unreliable. Routine is reliable. A routine can be simple. 1 minute of self-talk in the morning. 1 short recording in the afternoon. 1 small conversation in the evening. That is enough to start changing the way your brain handles English. And once your brain starts expecting English regularly, the fear begins to shrink. Now, I want to speak directly to the learner who feels behind. Maybe you look at other people speaking and think, they are naturally gifted. I am not. But that thought is dangerous, because it makes you compare your beginning to someone else's middle. You do not know how long they have practiced. You do not know how many mistakes they made. You do not know how many times they felt embarrassed. Fluency is not magic. It is accumulated exposure. So if you feel behind, do not use that as proof that you are incapable. Use it as evidence that you need a better system. A system wins where motivation fails. And here is one of the best systems you can build. Every day, speak before you feel ready. That is the rule. Speak while you are imperfect. Speak while you are nervous. Speak while your voice shakes a little. Because confidence often arrives after action, not before it. Many learners wait to feel confident before speaking, but confidence usually grows from speaking first and reflecting afterward. Now, let's add one more layer. A lot of learners are too focused on grammar accuracy. And grammar matters, yes. But if grammar obsession slows your speech to a crawl, then grammar is becoming a prison instead of a tool. A message that is slightly imperfect but understood is more valuable than a perfect sentence that never leaves your mouth. Have you ever noticed that some people speak simple English but still sound effective? That is because they are clear. They are direct. They keep the conversation moving. That is a skill worth learning. So when you practice, do not ask only, was it grammatically correct? Also ask, was I clear? Did I continue? Did I communicate? Did I stay in the conversation? Those are fluency questions. And now let's continue into the next major reason many learners stay stuck. They're trying to think in their native language first and translate in real time. That habit slows everything down. You begin with an idea in one language. Then you search for the equivalent in English. Then you try to rearrange the sentence. Then you hesitate. Then you lose confidence. This translation habit is one reason speaking feels slow and mentally exhausting. Fluency improves when learners reduce translation and begin thinking more directly in English, even with simpler sentences. Now, I'm not saying this habit disappears overnight. It won't. But you can weaken it.
How?
By training direct response. For example, instead of always preparing full translations in your head, practice answering simple questions immediately in English. What did you eat today? How are you feeling? What are you doing later? What do you think about this? The point is not to be fancy. The point is to build direct connection between thought and speech. At first, your answers may be short. That is okay. Short answers are not a sign of failure. They are the foundation of longer answers. And as you get better, your brain will learn to move more quickly. Now here's something important. You do not need to become a different person to speak English. You do not need a louder personality. You do not need a perfect accent. You do not need to become extroverted. You do not need to be fearless. You only need to become more willing. Willing to try. Willing to practice. Willing to look a little awkward while growing. That is enough. And honestly, that is powerful, because the person who stays willing will eventually pass the person who waits for the perfect moment. And the perfect moment almost never comes. So, what do you do today? You start with one small speaking task. Choose one topic. Record yourself for 1 minute. Listen back. Notice one thing you did well. Notice one thing to improve. Then do it again tomorrow. That is how transformation begins. Not by hoping, by practicing, not by dreaming, by speaking, not by waiting to become fluent, by becoming active. And this is only the beginning. In the next part of the script, we'll go deeper into practical speaking systems, how to build real fluency step by step, how to stop freezing in conversation, and how to create progress even if you feel shy, busy, or stuck. Before that, ask yourself one honest question. What if the reason you still can't speak English fluently is not that you are incapable, but that you have been training the wrong way? If that question hit you, then you are exactly where you need to be. Because once you see the problem clearly, you can finally fix it.